Even before the dawn of recorded history, man marked his place on the figurative road of progress by his speed on the actual roads of his own making. Handicapped by his lack of size and strength in comparison with the primeval beasts against which he battled for existence, he was forced to use his brain to survive. Thousands, perhaps millions of years of this struggle fanned the tiny flame of his intelligence before it blazed into the greatest invention of all time, the first crude wheel. The way was open. Man, for the first time, was free from the limitations of his legs, free to travel centuries later to the lands of his own choosing. Then, almost in the span of a single lifetime, distance surrendered to speed, that advanced god of our machine-age civilization. The train, the automobile, the airplane, and now, all three together are opening a new chapter in transportation, perhaps the prologue to a better world for all of us in which to live. And the watchwords are farther, faster, safer. No, lady, they didn't deliver this tractor on a truck because it wouldn't run. It'll run all right, and how? Just to prove that this modern Dobbin can gallop along, Ab Jenkins, world-famed speed demon, fills her up with lubricating oil preparatory to putting the old girl through her paces. So long, Ab. Keep her headed for the barn. The steel steed is off at a mere trot of 40 miles an hour. Now it's 45, 50, 55, 60. Hold on there or she'll run away with you yet. Faster and faster, Ab whips her along. Now it's 65 miles an hour for a new world's record with a tractor. Congratulations, say the mayor and chief of police, who seem to have overlooked the law violation. I'll bet they never saw a farmer go to town as fast as that before. And just to prove that Ab did travel 65 miles an hour, this AAA official checked the run. But Ab has made other official runs at over twice the speed he attained on the tractor. In 1933, he drove a special Pierce Arrow over the salt beds of Utah for 24 hours at an average of 117 miles an hour to establish 66 records. Now he's back again to gain more records. And Ab knows that in a run like this, oil plays an important part. Proper lubrication marks the difference between success and failure. Every moving part must be thoroughly protected by a thin film of oil. Here's Ted Allen, 3A representative.
This is the second time that we've been out here with Ab. These record runs. The officials of the American Automobile Association have been here about a week making their preparations. We have the latest type of timing equipment to make everything just the best possible. Ab's been working hard. His mechanics been working hard. Have the car in good shape, and everything looks fine. We expect to do about 130 to 31 miles an hour. If we're successful, that'll give Ab all the American records for the distances that he runs, as well as the international and the world's records.
Art Pillsbury, Dean of Racing Timers, who clocked the run.
Well, Ab, you're starting on a long journey. I'm sure you'll stand up under it, and I'm sure the car and every other part will stand up under it. Now, we're going to give you a board and keep you posted all the time as you go along. And if you want anything from us, you write us a note, and we'll help you out.
Everything is in readiness. Ab is at the starting line, a little nervous, and who wouldn't be? Away he goes, off like a silvery bullet. 100, 120, 140 miles an hour around that 10-mile oval. Nerves are forgotten, for when that champion of speed is driving over 100 miles an hour, he has no nerves. Ab knows how many revolutions the engine's turning up, but the speed in miles is calculated by an intricate timing mechanism. A light beam falls on a photoelectric cell, and when interrupted by the passing of the car, an amplifier in direct connection picks up the interruption and converts it into the activating force that stops one group of watches which record the lap just ended and starts another group to record the next lap.
Last lap was 4 minutes, 30 seconds, 29 100, 44 100, and 48 100. Okay.
From a low-flying airplane, we realize that Ab is going places, and Art Pillsbury is wondering just how fast he's doing it.
Harold, what's the average from the last lap? 132.9. What's the average up to this point? 132.2. That's fine. Thanks.
The first world's record falls. 200 miles at an average of 132 and 2/10 miles an hour. Boy, can this man drive. 200 miles are nothing to him. He seems to be as comfortable as though he were resting in his easy chair. It may be comfortable for him, but it's a little too fast for us. What's this? Are we seeing things? Ab's about to take off. He's actually leaving the ground. As his car's dissolving in thin air, rising and rising, until now the car's entirely lifted from the course. This motion picture of a mirage is one of the most interesting scenes ever photographed. Ab, too, sees a few hallucinations and does something about it. To him, the camp seems to be standing in a pond of water, but even mirages can't make Ab veer from his course. Here's a fellow who seems to think more about the inner man than anything else. Now, for that pinch of salt, right under his feet lies a bed of salt 120 miles long and 70 miles wide, and it's said to be 99% pure, too. There goes another record, 500 miles at 132 and 5/10 miles an hour. Skimming over the salt bed is easy for Ab. The natural ease of this skillful driver enables him to sit at the wheel hour after hour without tiring. Ab never was much of a hand at letter writing, but it looks as if he's taking it up now. Here goes, and somebody hurriedly goes after it. Sure enough, it is a letter, an unsolicited testimonial. If everything holds up as well as the oil, we should worry. On he goes, establishing new records one after another, always turning left around this monotonous course. From the ease with which he drives, one can hardly believe that he's traveling 27 miles an hour faster than the track record at Indianapolis. Look out, he'll run us down. We prefer this view. How's this for service? The car is refueled and inspected in less than 2.5 minutes. Everyone has his job to do, and he does it quickly and well, because all of the time in the pit is counted as running time. Time enough to go nearly 6 miles was lost by even this short stop. The afternoon is nearly ended, and Ab settles down for the long night drive. He's driven nearly 7 hours, but the run has only started. He doesn't slacken his terrific pace as night crowds down on him. Flares are lighted, and he continues on into the darkness. The roar of the engine is the only sound to break the desert silence. Another stop, and again the same super service. Everything is carefully checked and inspected. He's off, back on the salt, going farther, faster than any car has ever been driven before. Those flares are 200 feet apart, but the speed almost ties them into a complete circle of light. In the camp, the timers and mechanics never relax one moment during the long night. The roar of the engine and that lone headlight tell them that everything is going smoothly. On the backstretch, the salt is starting to wear into ruts, and a faithful crew goes out to level the course. Ruts don't slow down Ab. He's after new records, and he's going to get them. Here's another. That board is up there nearly every lap now, for record after record is broken during the night. Over the crest of the mountain, the first rays of sunlight slowly appear, and through the cool dawn, Ab speeds along, cheered by his aides in the camp. The sign, "Breakfast not ready," didn't seem to be so funny to Ab. He was ready to eat. He hasn't had but a little orange juice and a bottle of milk since yesterday noon. On into the morning, he drives like a mad charioteer, faster and faster, averaging over 133 miles an hour in these last laps, breaking one record after another. stacking up miles at the rate of more than 2 every minute. Now he's on the last lap, but he doesn't know it. He's still stepping on it. He's over the line. The board tells him that he's covered 3,000 miles in 23.5 hours, averaging 127 miles an hour, half an hour faster than even he thought it could be done. But here he comes, the champion of them all, and he's not even tired. But Ab's more than a demon driver. He's an engineer. Right off the bat, he wants to know just how the oil stood up, and here's how.
Just feel this oil. After 3,000 miles of running, boy, can that new PENNZOIL take it.
I'd rather have a gallon of this PENNZOIL after 3,000 miles than most any other oil new.
So would I, Ab.
Now let's dash over to Los Angeles in time to board the new Union Pacific Streamline train as it arrives in the station and prepares to leave on its record run across the continent to New York City. Port! Smoothly we glide away from the station to break a record that has stood for over 28 years. Fully streamlined, this train is ultra-modern in every respect. Air-conditioned, comfortable, clean, quiet. Everything the most exacting passenger could ask for. First call for dinner. Now we're rolling along at 120 miles an hour. Say, what town is, or was that? Up ahead is a 12-cylinder Winton diesel engine, directly coupled to a huge generator. The engine develops 900 horsepower, and when that power turns the generator, we just more than go. And the remarkable thing is that this engine is lubricated with regular automobile oil, the kind of oil many of us buy at our favorite service station. On and on that giant engine takes us, leaving state after state behind. And then, New York, all in 56 hours and 55 minutes. Farther, faster, safer. And for those of us who seek even greater speed in getting from one coast to the other, the United Airlines operate these trim, twin-motored Boeing monoplanes. Service starts either at Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Seattle, with all 3 sections converging at Salt Lake City. At San Francisco, our ship is made ready for a beeline dash to New York via Chicago. Lubricating oil is pumped into the engines to ensure cool, smooth-running service throughout the long grind that would burn and sludge all but the best quality oil. United airliners are not operated by guess. Everything used is checked for quality. Every part is inspected. Everything is ready before a plane leaves the ground. In the pilot's compartment is a full complement of instruments to guide both pilots over the long stretches of mountains, lakes, plains, and cities that make up the United States. Now, everything is set. The flight release has been issued, and the plane taxis to the air station. Passengers take their places in the cabin and relax in comfortable reclining chairs. A turn of the propellers, a roar from the engines, and we're away. Those Pratt & Whitney Wasp engines lift their cargo higher and higher over the housetops. The ground drops away. Homes become dollhouses. San Francisco dwindles into a mere checker square. A giant cloud lies between us and the Golden Gate. Meanwhile, at Los Angeles Airport, another ship takes off to join us at Salt Lake City. Los Angeles City Hall thrusts its 28 stories high above the 13-story buildings of the business district. Air travelers from Seattle, Spokane, Tacoma, and Portland fly over the historic Oregon Trail and the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. On we fly, as far in 5 minutes as a covered wagon could go in a day. Our ship glides over Lake Tahoe, 6,200 feet above sea level. Snow-covered peaks and forest-studded ranges slip by, leaving an impression of stimulating beauty. Below us lies the Great Salt Lake with salt water so buoyant that you float when you swim in it whether you want to or not. And here's Salt Lake City, nestled in the beautiful mountains of Utah, with its famous wide streets and Mormon temple. This structure was constructed without the use of a single nail. Wasatch Range stands guard over Salt Lake City as we leave it behind. Stewardess, ever helpful, points out a place of interest as the fast-moving panorama passes beneath. Possibly you've wondered about these tall mountain peaks with more than passing concern. This is the way pilots see things. Regardless of rain, snow, or fog, the artificial horizon, aided by other instruments, enables the pilots to keep the ship on an even keel. Other aids are available. The pilots communicate with the nearest of 37 ground radio stations throughout the trip. Now we've reached Omaha, where connections are made with planes from the north and southwest. Then we fly over the Mississippi, the father of rivers. A boundary line that once separated empires is now but a point in a division over which some pilots have flown their planes 3,000 times. Then Chicago, that teeming mart of trade and terminal for travelers. Here we pause a moment and soon are off again. Here's Cleveland with its outstanding railroad terminal in the heart of its commercial center. And then it's only a malted milk or two as we hurry onward to the Statue of Liberty and the one and only New York City. The Empire State Building and near it the Chrysler Spire are up-thrusting beacons above the metropolis of the world, our destination. We deplane at Newark Airport, a beehive of activity. Passengers are arriving and departing day and night, for this is the hub of a huge network of airlines. Someone's going someplace all of the time and going farther, faster, safer. Nor is the spirit of speed with safety confined to interstate land and air travel. This giant 19-ton, 4-engine, 32-passenger Sikorsky airliner is fueled with high-quality gasoline and lubricating oil for a test flight before being delivered to a large aviation company. Out to sea like a daring mariner of old. Faster, faster, the powerful Pratt & Whitney engines turn until she's off, rising with the grace of a swan. Always forward and upward until the powerful 3,000 horsepower motors are propelling this enormous clipper ship at 160 miles an hour. During a series of trial flights, after the ship had been thoroughly tested and the engines had been broken in, this deluxe airliner reclaimed for the United States the 10 efficiency records for seaplane transport service which for years had been held by France and Germany. Wings across the sea. This luxurious monarch of the airways over the sea has found its place with sister ships in South American air travel. Another test is nearly ended. The big bird slowly descends, the trial a complete success. A few adjustments must be made, trivial things to you and to me, but of great importance to Sikorsky because everything must be in perfect condition. Now she lights on the water and taxis back to her dock. Up the ramp climbs the sturdy ship as proud engineers and mechanics prepare her berth in the hangar. Another record has been made. Another test for efficiency has been met, and a vow to go farther, faster, safer has been fulfilled. Here's another test for aircraft and particularly for lubricants. These giant condors of the Eastern Airlines start from the cold north and land in the warm south, all within a few hours. This ship looks like a big beetle, but it doesn't maneuver like one. A beetle doesn't know much about flying compared to this competitor for the rights of the airways. You might think that these passengers were commuters catching the 725 instead of embarking on a flight of more than 1,100 miles between Newark and Miami. starter's grown, and away we go. A sister ship arrives from Miami. Before going back into service, everything must be checked. Here are 3 young mechanics preparing the Condor for another trip to the Southland.
Go ahead. Okay, Carl, that'll be plenty. Sure doesn't take much oil to come all the way from Miami.
Here's still another record for men, motors, and oil. Eddie Rickenbacker is headed for a record dash to New York from Los Angeles in one of the new Eastern Airline Douglas transports.
We'll have breakfast in Los Angeles, and we hope that we'll have dinner in New York. Are you all set?
Lubricating oil is put into the engines, and a last-minute checkup is made. Let's go. A race against time, 2,600 miles to New York, and that's a long way to go for dinner. Over mountains, we're averaging 15,000 feet in the upper air. With Rickenbacker at the controls, we're doing more than 200 miles an hour. New York in 12 hours and 7 minutes. A new record and not too late for dinner. Here's Rickenbacker with another victory for aviation.
The elapsed time was 12 hours and 7 minutes. And the actual flying time was 11 hours and 55 minutes.
When the postman delivers a package intended for a young American boy, he doesn't know that possibly he may have had a hand in altering transportation years hence. This happy boy has been waiting anxiously for these packages. He knows they contain a Brown Jr. motor for the new type miniature airplane he designed and is building in school. Now his masterpiece will fly. Already he has more knowledge about aviation than the Wright brothers had when they made their historic flight at Kitty Hawk 31 years ago. This model ship is no mere plaything. It's built along practical lines, and in it have gone hours of careful work and planning. This boy in his teens realizes the importance of good quality oil. He knows, as we all know, that the records made by Jenkins, Rickenbacker, Sikorsky, and the Union Pacific would not be possible without proper lubrication. He knows that reliable air service would be but a fantastic dream unless lubrication had been developed to meet and exceed the demands made on it. Every one of these records was made possible in a measure by proper oil. Had the oil failed, these demonstrations of speed and efficiency could not have been accomplished. One of the most efficient contributions of science to meet this unusual assignment is the new solvent process of refining motor oil. Impurities that heretofore could not be reached are now literally washed out of the oil. By this method, all types of oil can be improved, but even solvent refining does its best job with the best raw material. It's only through the combination of solvent refining and selected Pennsylvania crudes that the best motor oil is obtainable. You've just seen a few of the many rigid tests given solvent-processed new PENNZOIL before being offered the public. In tests with automobiles, it was found that even those driven unusually long between oil changes were completely free from sludge on valves and pistons, power was protected, there was a gasoline saving up to 12%, and a saving of motor oil up to 50%. A 50-year-old pioneer, the largest producer, refiner, and marketer operating exclusively on a 100% pure Pennsylvania crude oil, has made even better what motorists in every state in the Union already called the best motor oil in the world. New PENNZOIL means economy because it postpones oil changing many miles. It means speed because it's free from sludge-making adulterants. It means protection to the engine because it places a film of oil between moving parts. In other words, new PENNZOIL is ready to go farther, faster, safer. Film of oil. Here's Ted Allen, 3A representative.
This is the second time that we've been out here with Ab. Since record runs. The officials of the American Automobile Association have been here about a week making their preparations. We have the latest type of timing equipment to make everything just the best possible. Ab's been working hard. His mechanics have been working hard. have the car in good shape, and everything looks fine. We expect to do about 130 to 31 miles an hour. If we're successful, that'll give Ab all the American records for the distances that he runs, as well as the international and the world's records.
Art Pillsbury, Dean of Racing Timers, who clocked the run.
Well, Ab, you're starting on a long journey. I'm sure that you'll stand up under it, and I'm sure the car and every other...
No, lady, they didn't deliver this tractor on a truck because it wouldn't run. It'll run all right, and how? Just to prove that this modern Dobbin can gallop along, Ab Jenkins, world-famed speed demon, fills her up with lubricating oil preparatory to putting the old girl through her paces. So long, Ab. Keep her headed for the barn. The steel steed is off at a mere trot of 40 miles an hour. Now it's 45, 50, 55, 60. Hold on there or she'll run away with you yet. Faster and faster, Ab whips her along. Now it's 65 miles an hour for a new world's record with a tractor. Even before the dawn of recorded history, man marked his place on the figurative road of progress by his speed on the actual roads of his own making. Handicapped by his lack of size and strength in comparison with the primeval beasts against which he battled for existence, he was forced to use his brain to survive. Thousands, perhaps millions of years of this struggle. Congratulations, say the mayor and chief of police, who seem to have overlooked the law violation. I'll bet they never saw a farmer go to town as fast as that before. And just to prove that Ab did travel 65 miles an hour, this AAA official checked the run. But Ab has made other official runs at over twice the speed he attained on the tractor. In 1933, he drove a special Pierce Arrow over the salt beds of Utah for 24 hours at an average of 117 miles an hour to establish 66 records. Now he's back again to gain more records. And Ab knows that in a run like this, oil plays an important part. Proper lubrication marks the difference between success and failure. Every moving part must be thoroughly protected by a thin fan, the tiny flame of his intelligence, before it blazed into the greatest invention of all time, the first crude wheel. The way was open. Man, for the first time, was free from the limitations of his legs, free to travel centuries later to the lands of his own choosing. Then, almost in the span of a single lifetime, distance surrendered to speed, that advance god of our machine-age civilization. The train, the automobile, the airplane, and now, all three together are opening a new chapter in transportation. Perhaps the prologue to a better world for all of us in which to live. And the watchwords are farther, faster, safer.